Hello friends, welcome again to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, I say thank you for stopping by. And if you are returning, thank you for coming back again. I hope I'm adding some value to you each time you visit this channel. My name is Eyum, and on this channel, I bring you the information and the inspiration that you need to overcome obstacles and challenges in your life. Today, I want to talk to you about growing from adversity or growing from your painful experiences. Every experience can lead to great growth if properly managed. How do you respond to a bad experience? How do you respond to a challenge? How do you respond to that incident that you feel is unfair? Do you explode or do you implode? Explode is when you just blow up in anger. Everybody around you suffer because of you exploding on them. Or do you withdraw to yourself emotionally? You internalize everything that you are going through. Or do you take something to numb the pain so that you don't feel it? Maybe you take a substance, you take alcohol, you take drugs, you take some medicine, maybe even over-the-counter medicine, something that you take to just numb the pain. Or do you completely ignore the experience as if it didn't happen? You just want to carry on with your life and pretend it didn't happen, even if you are feeling the pinch here and there. You realize that the way you respond to a bad experience, the way you respond to adversity, is what determines who you become. It determines the outcome that come out of it. Many years ago, when I had my daughter that was born with very severe disabilities, and I had to withdraw from work, I had to take time off from my business and give her full-time attention. One of the things that I resolved was that I was not going to let the experience make me bitter, but I was going to let it make me better. I decided that I was going to grow from that experience and through that experience. And in doing that, there were a couple of steps that I followed, and I'll tell you about that as we progress. Dr. John C. Maxwell says, I have never seen anyone who said, I love problems, I love bad experiences, I love adversity. But I have seen many who have admitted that their greatest gain came from their pain. I don't know about you, but I know that my greatest gains came from my pain. I'm doing what I'm doing today because of my greatest pain, which happened to be my daughter that was born with very severe disabilities. All that I went through in raising her, how my character had to be worked on as I took care of her, how I had to commit to growing myself because I didn't like who I was at the time that she was born. And I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to add value to people. And the experience challenged me to become a better version of myself. And that was actually what pushed me to begin to pursue personal growth vigorously. I just fell in love with growth because I wanted to be better, a better version of myself. So what painful experience have led to great growth in your life? So if you can put your comment in the chat, I'll be happy to know that painful experience that have led to great gains or that have led to great growth in your life. You will realize that although we don't like painful experiences, we love talking about them later, maybe months later, years later. If we manage them well and we're able to get some gains, and the outcome was good, we love to talk about it. It becomes like a great war story. You know, nobody likes to go to war. But when the heroes of war come back, they tell story and people gather around them and they want to hear the story because they have been victorious. So the same thing happens with our painful experiences. When we are going through this experience, it's never palatable, it's never enjoyable. But if we, at the end of the day, we manage through it and we come out victorious, we become like heroes that are like war heroes, and now we have war stories in quote to tell because of our own experiences. So how do we grow from adversity? I'm going to just give us 4 simple steps that we can take to grow from any bad experience, from any adversity, from any challenge that you are facing. You can make it a growth experience for yourself. The first way we grow from adversity is to have the end in mind. Remember, I was talking about the war heroes that tell us the war stories. So each time you are confronted with a challenge and you now begin to ask yourself, what story do I want to tell at the end of this season? What story do I want to tell years later when this event have passed? And if you now identify the kind of story that you want to tell, I believe that will help you to know how to navigate that challenge so that at the end of the day, you are telling the story that you want to tell, not the story that somebody else is expecting of your life. So if you want a story of victory, you now brace yourself to face the situation so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to tell a victorious story. But if you don't have the end in mind and you're looking at just the obstacle that is before you, it's very easy to collapse before it. It's very easy to give in, thinking that it has come to crush you. But meanwhile, if you have the end in mind, you brace yourself up so that you can tell that story that you want to tell. And then secondly, to grow from pain or to grow from adversity, you need to identify the gap between who you are right now and who you need to become so that you can overcome that adversity. I say, the first step I say, have the end in mind. When you have the end in mind of victory, you may not be that person that is equipped to have that victory. That is where the growth gap comes in now. You identify that this is who I am, these are my limitations, but for me to be able to tell that heroic war story, I need to grow myself so that I can become the person that is capable of overcoming this adversity, this challenge, so that I can tell that war story. So identify that gap. And this was exactly what I did when I had my daughter Grace. I told you that I looked at myself. I told myself I didn't want to be bitter. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be equipped to take care of this girl. I wanted to have the capacity to love unconditionally. I wanted to have the capacity to give her what she needs as a child that is born with very severe disabilities. And at that time, I didn't have that. So even though I didn't want to be bitter and I wanted to be better, but I was not equipped to live at that better level. So what happened then was that I began to educate myself. And that is what you can do in any situation that you are faced with. Any adversity, any challenge, be it at work, be it your spiritual life, be it a goal that you want to achieve. When you look at that challenge that looks so huge before you, you now identify that there is a gap I need to fill if I want to overcome that adversity. And that gap is what I call the growth gap, which is now make you to begin to grow. And growing is now identifying those resources that will help you to become the person that is capable of overcoming this challenge. So identify the gap. And then when you identify the gap, you need to develop strategies. I was talking about strategies last week, so we can't escape this strategy thing. If you missed last week's video, we'll put the link in the description of this video. So click on it and watch how to develop strategies for growth. So once you've identified the gap between who you are and who you need to become, you now develop a strategy that you can begin to follow so that you can become that person that have grown from this adversity. And of course, what is a strategy without an action plan? So when you have identified your strategy, get into action. Get into action. It's only by acting on those strategies that you will begin to grow. So I want to just encourage you that is listening to me right now. There's no challenge that you cannot grow to become the person that can overcome it. So be encouraged that you can grow. You can grow from that pain. And at the end of the day, having that big picture in mind of the war story that you want to tell, you can now be inspired to begin to grow, so that at the end of the day, you will tell the story that you want to tell about your adversity, not the story that somebody else is expecting. Maybe somebody else is expecting a story of defeat, a story of giving up, a story of destruction, a story that the adversity has consumed you. But because you have a different story you want to tell, that has kept you going, and you are able to grow from that adversity. So yes, share your thoughts with me. If you have grown through any adversity, if you have grown from any adversity, any challenge, any bad experience, share it with me. I would love to know. And also share the strategies that you have used to overcome that adversity, because I know somebody else will also be encouraged. So I'm going to round up now by giving us a quote. This quote is by John C. Maxwell. He said, "You don't overcome challenges by making them smaller, but you overcome them by making yourself bigger." You don't overcome challenges or problems or adversity but by trying to downplay them. Oh, it's nothing, ignoring them. You overcome them by making yourself bigger. And the way you make yourself bigger is by growing yourself. So commit to growth. You'll be happy at the end of the day of what you have become, of who you have become, and of the challenges you have been able to overcome. And then the people you have also been able to become an inspiration to, because you chose to grow from your problems, your challenges, your adversity. I know you can do it, so go out there and begin to do it. So once again, thank you for listening to me. If you are watching this channel, you've not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Please press that subscribe button. And when you do so, also make sure that the notification is turned on, so that anytime we upload a new video, you'll be notified. And if this video has helped you in any way, why don't you share it so that somebody else can also be blessed? And why don't you also drop your thoughts? Like the video, drop a comment, so that, yes, I can know that this video is helping you and it will encourage me to do more. So once again, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next week.